Hey guys, come on in here. It's your legal bestie, Attorney Symone, and I'm so happy to be back with you guys. I've missed you. I have been in the courthouse here in New York City, so I'm still in New York. I've been in the courthouse each day since right after Memorial Weekend, but I missed you guys terribly. So I decided today I wanted to come and at least do the morning session with you guys. Oh, great. Let us know where you are watching us from. So I want to do the morning session with you guys. I also have the transcripts, all of them, every single one of them. So, excuse me, it's winding down for the prosecution. So I thought, hey, this would be a good time for us to, and I might do this throughout the week because I also have work to do and I hate getting up at like the butt crack of dawn, is that do the morning session with you guys and then do the afternoon down at the courthouse. It'll just depend on who's on the stand and all those details. Oh, great. We got some people from Dallas. We've got Atlanta. Oh, shoot. We've got a ton. Okay, hold on one second. Sorry, guys. There we go. I got to put in my do not disturb. Yeah, so come on in, hit that share, hit that subscribe as you come in too. So we are, of course, we are waiting. We are gearing up. I want to kind of bring you up to date, child. This case just has so many ebbs and flows and changes and adjustments. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see what Inner City Press is telling us this morning. So the most cutting edge thing that's going on right now is that the defense has filed for a mistrial. And I do, oh my gosh, y'all. New York City is so freaking noisy. I might put my headphones on. I don't think that's going to help. Well, I might put my headphones on to reduce some of the noise for you guys. But I do have a copy of the mistrial motion, and I want to explain it to you as we get going. Now, today's witness is going to be Jane Doe all day. We are calling her Jane. We are not, y'all. We are not going to put her real name in the chat. But it says, how did the transcript show? Someone has a good question. I love answering you guys' this question. I just lost it. Good morning in chat. Watching my legal bestie from Northern Virginia. Thanks for joining us. You asked, why isn't this showing? How did the transcripts show so much different information than what you all hear while you're there? Pardon my ignorance. I don't think it shows different. That's an excellent question, but I don't think what it's showing is different. I think it's more specific. So, you have to understand, we're not even allowed to have a laptop. Like if I had a laptop, I actually type much faster than I write because all throughout law school, we use laptops and took our notes on there. So as a result, I write really slow with handwriting. And so you've just got to handwrite and you only can really pick up the gist of it there. So I think that's why there can be differences, but usually it's not like a huge difference. It's just less specific than the transcript. Do y'all like transcript readings? Y'all, some of them be so damn boring. I don't know how y'all do it. I don't know. Okay, let's go. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's see what Inner City Press has started. Let me see. You can see it here. It says, we are now at day 19. Jane is still on direct. There are issues regarding anonymity. Y'all, that's why I didn't go in that courtroom today. Let me tell y'all. Y'all, I love y'all. But I was like, y'all gonna get me put out this courtroom. So I actually, part of it, I said, I'm not about to go in this courtroom because y'all out here cutting up. You put names in the chat. Don't do that. Jane is Jane. You put names in the chat. And then somebody this weekend reposted me like a Twitter page with over 2 million views on the tweet, reposted me saying that Jane needs to get a job, and it gave who they believe Jane is, and it named her. I have never said and won't ever say who Jane is. Now I'm still kind of confused as to why Jane gets to be anonymous, but whatever. You said you like the transcript reading, always put a spin on it. So-called Jane Doe is going to get destroyed by Diddler's lawyers. Oh yeah, it's going to be bad. So I did some research over this weekend because as you may have seen, I was myself and other lawyers in the courtroom. I'm talking legal analysts for the major networks. We were in there and we were so confused as to what her testimony was supposed to be supporting for like the first full day. At one point, like I wrote in my notes, and my homegirl, who's an attorney for ABC News, she literally goes, "What is the charge? Like, what's the charge that this information is supporting?" And I have to tell you, when lawyers in the courtroom are having difficulty figuring out what the criminal charge is for something, as this witness is there pouring her heart out, the prosecution may have a problem. It says, unfortunately, attorney, your arguments are going to be used by red pill content creators. Yeah, they don't get it. And the red pill people are like the Kevin Samuels folks. That's not what I'm saying at all. Just, I appreciate you saying that so I get the chance to clarify. Oh my God, this is nasty. Ew. Excuse me. So overall, what my position on Jane Doe is this, and I want to hear your thoughts in the chat. I probably should try to run a poll, but I'll do that later because I'm ADD and we're going to do first things first. So here's my overall concern with Jane Doe. Overall is that if you're going to have two charges like trafficking that are so serious and also non-traditional, by non-traditional, it's not what the average everyday person would think of. The facts here are not what the average person would think of when we are thinking of someone as trafficked. I think we generally think of like people at those happy ending massage parlors who can't leave. We're thinking of, people who are taken against their will from one location to another and then forced to work or perform, S acts. I think this is just a very novel interpretation of the law. Given that, I felt like if the facts for Jane are not going to be at least as strong as they are for Cassie, then we don't need it. It will confuse it could confuse the jury. It could water down the argument, especially if there are some jurors who already don't want to convict for trafficking for Cassie, then they're definitely not going to feel that way for Jane. It says, I don't think she should have testified. The only thing she proved was that she doesn't think for herself. They are really reaching, some are saying. Oh, thank you. I didn't get my hair done. No, I just washed it, but thanks for asking. Also, y'all peep this. The original indictment, which was filed in September, and each time there's a revision to the indictment, there has to be a new grand jury commission to hear that evidence. But the original indictment, the second indictment, so the amended indictment, which was in January, and the third superseding indictment, which is the one that's overseeing this case, the first two did not mention Jane Doe at all. They didn't even add her trafficking count. So they just barely added her, y'all, in April. I think the document that I have is like April 5th or something like that. So I say that to say, even the prosecution knew that they didn't need her allegations. So I'm just saying, if you're going to use them, get you some really strong ones. Don't get ones. It says they are prostitutes. Stop covering up Diddy's crimes. Where's the over 90 terabytes of FO footage taken from Diddy's house? Hold on. There were 90 terabytes, but we don't know that was FO footage. It was something, but we don't know that it was that. Secondly, I know that this lady's a prostitute. I get it. But again, it goes back to my theory, which is that if you've already got strong evidence of something, you do not then add at the end of the game. Remember, Friday, we're on Monday. Friday is when the prosecution is claiming that they're going to arrest. You don't add weaker evidence at the end. You add the strongest evidence. So if they just needed someone to prove up they're a hooker, we've been had that. But that's not what she's here for. She is there to prove trafficking via fraud, force, and coercion. What's with him and all these women of color? No comment. Yeah, I think, some people are saying what's with him and these Filipino women because of Cassie, and I guess Gina, whatever her name is Asian as well. I think he uses them as sex toys, apparently. They are covering up Diddy's crimes against minors. Trust me, if they had proof of Diddy's crimes against minors, they would be prosecuting that first because it's even easier. The R. Kelly case, that one was even easier because that one was children's trafficking crimes. All right, let me make this larger. I'm going to bring you guys up to date. There is the mistrial motion. as and that's what they're going over now. They're also talking about the influencers and stuff like that, which is why I'm not in the courtroom, y'all. I'm gonna be in there in the afternoon, but I'm not going up there right now. Actually, I need to make sure they're not naming my name, because y'all been cutting up over the weekend, people in the chat and different things. I've never said Jane Doe's name, and this judge, is not playing about it. Okay, the Ray J mentioned in the transcript, let me speak to that. It was not singer Ray J. In fact, they asked Bono, or whatever that lady's name was, they asked her, you mean Ray J, the singer? And she was like, no, I don't think so. Like, she would know if Ray J was her drug dealer. She would absolutely know. You don't live in LA and like confuse Ray J for anybody but Ray J. But currently, right now, they are arguing the mistrial motion. And I'm just going to give you the Cliff's Notes version of it. And then we'll probably look at a few pages of it. It's not super long. So the gist of it is that they're trying to seek a mistrial, claiming that Brianna Bondelin's testimony was straight up lies, that the prosecution knew they were lies, and that they had no business calling her to the stand. It says, but maybe she didn't want to call him out on the stand. Yeah, that they had no business calling her to the stand. And because she got on the stand and basically Nicole Westmoreland cornered her, like backed her into a corner by having her reiterate and just confirm how confident she was regarding the date of her being dingle-dangled. And then confirming that the exact date that she claimed that she was dingle-dangled. And she claimed it in part based on the fact that that was what the timestamp said on the photo of her injuries. They're claiming that on that same day, Diddy was in New York and he was performing at the Bad Boy reunion tour. Hold on, let me pull this up. In other words, can't be two places at once. This girl must be lying. And here's the thing. I don't think she's lying. I'm going to tell you why. So number one, the mistrial will be denied. If a mistrial is granted, all that does is start it all over. It means there's going to be a new trial from scratch. And it's an advantage to the defendant because now he knows all the ways that the other side is going to come at him, that defense is going to come at him. Let me see. I'm trying to find a picture of her bruises. I want to show you this. I'm going to explain why it is that I don't think Brianna was lying. I think it made her look terrible. I think it was definitely a mic drop moment in the courtroom, but I don't think she was lying. The reason why is because after the incident happened, Diddy, for a month, was negotiating a settlement with her through his team, through his people. And here you go. And there's no way Diddy would do that if he didn't in fact dangle her and she wasn't injured. So I'm not confused about that at all. Furthermore, they mentioned the whack producer, Deontay called him a whack producer, Rob Holiday. And with Rob Holiday, it was stated that Rob Holiday, who was also a friend of Brianna Bongeland, that he called to basically try to get her to make this go away, to get her to drop the charges, to see, hey, how much money do you want? Let's see, I got the pictures here. Yeah, to see how much money that she wants. And he wouldn't have done that if it never happened. So really what I think it was is it happened. The girl don't remember the specific date. And she had no business on the stand confirming something she was not 100% sure of. I'm trying to find these. Okay, I'm still trying to show these pictures. Okay, it's not showing. Let's see if I can get I'm trying to show the pictures of the bruises. All right, it's still loading, so we'll take time. We'll get back to it. All right, so that's the basis of the mistrial. It won't be granted. Now let's see what Mr. Inner City Press is referring to now. Here we go. I'm going to make it larger, of course. Hold on. Do I think KK will get charged separately? Actually, I'm glad that you asked me that. Oh, here we go. Why don't I ever mention The recruit from Cassie to KK. I'm not clear. Why don't I ever mention that? First of all, thank you for the super chat, Katrina. The recruit from Cassie to KK. I'm not sure what you mean. Or do you mean that KK was trying to recruit her? I'm not really sure. Yeah, I'm in New York. I am just this morning. I'm still in New York. Yeah. I have a place for the rest of the month. I am just here. I wanted to, one, sleep in, but two, I'm scared. I'm actually scared I'm going to get kicked out the courtroom because over the weekend, different like major blogs were reposting me claiming that I outed Jane Doe, and I absolutely did not. So not true. I owned a business and settled with someone just to make it go away. No, I'm okay. Someone is saying, no, I'm not saying it means he did it. You settle with them to make it go away, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. I don't think that Diddy would spend a month negotiating with someone over something that didn't happen. He would make that person go away. That person would disappear. That's just what I'm saying. All right, so let's go back. Let's add to the stage the update from Inner City Press. All right, so they're in the courtroom. It says before the jurors come in, the judge says, I have the defense motion to dismiss, but the government has said that they will respond today. I don't have anything from them yet, so we will address it tomorrow, along with whether Dr. Hughes can be recalled. And that is the motion for the mistrial. And I just, because it says, quote, the mistrial motion alleges that the U.S. allowed Mrs. Bongolan to perjure herself about the balcony incident, blah, blah, blah. All right. With that said, the judge says, let me see lead counsel in the robing room. So what is being discussed are the issues around the order on pseudonyms. Did Jane's counsel ever submit her list of publishers? No indication in the docket. Oh, that's referring to at court on Friday. Jane's lawyers alleged that some bloggers and stuff like that had outed her identity. Y'all, give me a break. I can't say too much about it, but first she said, okay, that she believes that people have outed her identity. And then secondly, the judge asked, okay, well, was it anyone in the courtroom? And she was like, well, no. And the judge was like, well, okay. She's like, well, we don't actually know the identity of the people. We're working on the identity, but we wanted to bring it to the court's attention. Child, please, you really think you can be dating Diddy for 3 freaking years? 3 years. And people won't have a good guess as to who you are when you have then given identifying information? That wasn't nobody in that courtroom. That wasn't, and we didn't have to. By the time we came out of court, there were already people posting clear indications of who she was. So that's just what I'm going to say on that. Thank you so much for the super chat. Caroline Castle says, I've been telling myself I need to support and show love. Thank you so much. So here I am. Thank you for your research and coverage and expertise on the trial so far. Hit that subscribe. If you're new here, welcome, welcome. I'm your legal bestie, Attorney Symone. I'm an attorney and I break down legal cases on social media. I am a plaintiff's attorney. I represent plaintiffs in civil cases, plaintiffs like Cassie. I actually was the first attorney in New York to file a civil suit against R. Kelly under the same set of laws. So I am very familiar with this type of law. And on my channel, just continue to join us. I break down legal cases, but I do it like I'm talking to my homegirls drunk at brunch. So don't come over here if you're expecting like CNN type seriousness, because we clown. They're trying to gag the media in order to railroad Diddy. Okay. It seems they're trying to. Yep. Somebody said her birthday was 4 days before the other celebrity he was dating. It's not that hard to figure out. Yeah, no. There is proof Bannon was brutally abused and almost unalived by Diddy. Stop it. I agree. Okay. Katina said, I'm sorry. I meant to say the text between Cassie and KK about Bonna and Puff putting her over the balcony. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much, Katrina. I'm confident that this happened as far as Bonna being hung over the balcony. So again, if you're joining us, the mistrial issue is the defense is claiming they want a mistrial because the government allowed this Bonna woman to come on the stand and so-called perjure herself because they're claiming that the dangling incident never happened because on the date that she said it occurred, Diddy was in a whole nother state on the Bad Boy tour. But here's the thing. You never get mistrials on issues of fact. Why? This is an issue of fact, right? The fact is, was the dangling this day or was it a different day? Or did it happen at all? Any issues of fact are solely for the jury. A judge does not want to take that out of the jury's hands because that's the only thing that they're there for, to determine whether or not they believe the facts. Now, if it's something procedural, that's what the judge does. An example of that is a determination of whether or not a document is hearsay or whether testimony is hearsay that doesn't fall inside of a hearsay exception. So for that reason as well, I believe the judge is not going to dismiss this case. First of all, the judge don't want to dismiss it because apparently they claim this case cost $25 million. But also, the defense is reaching, but what the defense is trying to do is make sure that they perfect the record for the appeal. Hey guys, come on in here. Why am I confident? Why am I confident that it happened? I'm confident that it happened because there were the injuries. I'm confident because at the time it actually happened, Cassie sent a message to, she gave a message to, what's the other girl? KK, about like, Diddy just hung, Bono off the balcony. She sent her a text message about that. So she wouldn't have done that if it didn't happen. And then Diddy would not have spent a month trying to negotiate a settlement. Oh, and by the way, whatever settlement offer that Diddy had given to her was substantial because every time she tried to get it in, the defense was like, object, Your Honor. And the judge refused to let it in. So the defense did not want that settlement offer admitted into evidence because they felt it would prejudice Diddy because it would seem as though he must have been guilty. He must have done it. And it's like, well, duh, that's why it should be admissible. We're talking about the evidence that Diddy offered her a substantial settlement. And the judge wouldn't let it in because, there you go. The judge wouldn't let it in because because under the evidence rules, you're not supposed to admit into evidence unless there's an exception, evidence of a settlement, because it discourages people from settling. So a settlement can be admitted for other reasons. And the defense, if they had wanted to, could have asked about the settlement, but they did not. Because if you remember, it was the defense that asked Cassie, how much money did you get from Diddy? That was a settlement. And it was the defense that asked Cassie, how much did you get from the hotel? They didn't object then, huh? They wanted everyone to know about that. I actually think that might have been a misstep on the side of the defense because one of the elements and one of the offenses at issue is bribery and the $100,000 paid for that tape. And if there's anybody on the cusp of believing whether or not there was actual bribery, the fact that the hotel gave her $10 million says the hotel knew it was some damn bribery. Crimes are admissible at any time. I'm not talking about, first of all, why are you yelling? Why are you text yelling? I'm not talking about a crime. I specifically said the settlement amount, the dollar amount of the settlement that I was in the courtroom. So if you were in the courtroom, you tell me what the judge said. But the dollar amount of the settlement itself was not admissible. Obviously, the crime of him hanging her over the balcony was admissible because they sat there and they talked about it for half the doggone day. Somebody said there's too many bots on YouTube. Yes. Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. You're right. She didn't specifically say that she saw it. And that was part of the back and forth is did Cassie actually see it or was she just there? All we do know one thing that we do know is that Cassie was there, Bono was there, and Bono had bruises after the fact. Cassie had said there were bruises. Bono said there were bruises. Diddy hadn't said nothing because he hasn't taken the stand. So you are right. And that was something like whether or not Cassie said she saw it or not, that was a specificity that they went back and forth on. At the end of the day, sometimes what they'll do is they'll take a small issue and blow it up real big to make it seem like we've got a major credibility issue. And at the end of the day, you guys are the jury. You guys decide. All right. So let's moving on. It says that's from a different day. I have so much additional info I want to share with you guys, but I want to do it when they're at a break. 9:18. Okay. All right. Here we go. The jury is being brought in. So I believe that in chambers was where, just a minute ago, they were in chambers. I believe that was where they were trying to talk about Jane Doe's identity, whether it had been leaked, etc. So all rise, Jane, you're still under oath. Good morning. It says, good morning, Miss Comey. Good morning, Miss Comey. She talks like really sweet like that. Good morning, Miss Comey. And the prosecutor says, publish this photo to the jury, but not the screen in the public gallery. Who's this? Sean's security. And this, Sean's deputy butler. Who did you call ATL? The entertainer, Sly, because he lived in Atlanta. And I want to make sure you guys can see this. All right. Wait a minute. Speaking of, hold on. As I'm reading this, I need to, damn it. Let me confirm this about one of the bodyguards. Hold on. I got to know. I got an inside track. I'm trying to see. Did you find out? I want to know if any of the bodyguards are testifying this week. Let's see. Let's see, because I think it would be crazy for the prosecution to rest without at least one of the security guards. Yeah, like at least one of them. It said Diddy ripped off his artist just to waste money. Okay, here we go. So publishes Sean security. All right, who did you call ATL? The entertainer, Sly, because he lived in ATL. Your message to Sean, what was it about? My trip to New York in 2023. He wrote, send me some ish of you being bad. Ooh, getting a little frisky. James then Sean says, I got the phones. Just sent me what I don't. I got the phones. Just sent me what I don't have. Don't say no to me, please. What did you write? I wrote, you are traveling with our phone? Oh, Lord, it must be their freaky deaky phone with all their videos on it. AUSA, you mean not Sean's two main phones? She said, yes. His assistants had access to those, the two main phones. She said, I wrote, you're using this to get your D hard for someone else. Oh, because she was out, because Diddy is not with her, obviously. They're in separate places. Apparently, he's with another woman. She's irritated that apparently he's looking at their sexy videos. And as she's saying, you're using this to get your D hard for someone else? And he says to you, what do you say? I wrote, I'm not coming to New York. You just want me there for a hotel binge. Why did you say that? I saw a podcast. What about? About Sean bragging about having sex for 48 hours straight on a yacht trip to an island near Miami. When did the podcast air? A month after Sean said he'd take me on that yacht trip. All right, y'all, this is Young Miami. So she's like so pissed. She is so pissed. Hit that subscribe button, guys. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. She is so pissed about Miss Young Miami. And up, yes, we got 3,000. Oh, we got less than 400 likes, y'all. Get those likes up, honey. I need that monetization. I need that recommendation. Listen, she's so pissed about Young Miami. And I want to make sure you understand why. We're waiting on more tweets, so don't worry. I'm not just like blah, blah, blabbing. Okay, part of the reason why she's so frustrated about Young Miami is her last straw was, so for the first 3 months they dated, it was normal. They Their first date was in February, like for her birthday. He took her to Turks. And then May, he asked her to do the first freak off. And then she said it was like Pandora's box. After that, he wanted it all the time. Now, it's becoming to be a bit clear. It's almost as though he likes these certain women. He likes certain women as sex toys to just do this little freak-a-leak stuff. But so then for the next 2 years, it was just FOs. He didn't take her on any trips. Now, he would fly her into certain towns, but that was just to FO. So she had a birthday. Ooh, she was hot, baby. She was hot. She had a birthday. And for her birthday, he says, oh, I got something special for you. They go to dinner. He gives her a necklace. She's so excited. They go back to the room. And he has one of the sex workers walk right on in there. Paul, who also happened to be his personal assistant. Paul came in there and he was like, yeah, I have Paul for you. And she was like, ugh. But she never said no. She never says no. She's just like, I guess, is generally what she says. It's saying that she would still be she would absolutely still be with him if he were not in jail. And that's part of the confusion, because remember, to this day, he is still paying her rent. Where's my gavel? Gavel. He is still paying for her rent. It says how the heck she thinks she can remain anonymous with these details. She was big mad all while young Miami was a fool too. I think I remember. Let me be quiet. Right. So anyway, she gets mad on her birthday. She ends up having to do a freak off. And I think that was the day she did a trilogy, y'all. It was a trilogy. So she did one and that was a different day. It was right around the same time though. She did one and that man was stinky. He was real funky and he kept sweating on her. She was like, ooh, I don't like this. So then he said, all right, you can go. So then another one comes and he does that one. And then after that guy leaves, Diddy turns and looks at her and says, you got any more in you? Think you got another one in you? And she goes, I guess. And did a third. They had a trilogy. It wasn't a train because each person took their time, but she had a trilogy. She had a vagina triathlon. Her vagina had its own triathlon, right? And then he leaves. And she sees on social media that this man took a private jet and took young Miami to her dream destination. She wanted to go back where they initially sparked their love for one another, okay? And where they made sweet, passionate love, just the two of them. No weirdos, no sweaty people, no male hookers. She wanted to get back to that. No more hookers. She didn't want no more hookers. And so as a result, she sees that he flies out young Miami and all her girls, gets a villa, flies him on the private jet, has the chef, and she had even heard him coordinating aspects of it. So she said he was a liar. She said she looked at him and said, are you going somewhere? And he was like, no. And then she later figured out and she was like, you're a liar. I have it in the transcript. I'll play that for you later. So let's go back and let's check out the updates. But it's so important that you understand the basis for her absolute disdain for young Miami. It's because young Miami got the trips and the girls, because when you're dating a man like Diddy, you want to be able to go on a girl's trip. You want him to, treat you and your friends to some crab legs. She didn't, crab legs. Well, she got crab legs, but she had to work for them. All right. Here we are. Updates. So then it says, I'm going to recap. It says, Jane wrote, you're using this to get your D hard for someone else, videos of their sexy time. And he says, what did you say? She said, I wrote, I'm not coming to New York. You just wanted me there for a hotel binge. Why did you say that? I saw a podcast. What about? About Sean bragging about having sex for 48 hours straight on a yacht to an island near Miami. That was with young Miami, probably. And when did the podcast air? A month after Sean said he'd take me on that yacht trip. What had Sean said he'd do with you on this yacht trip? Objection. Overruled. That after a 2-day hotel night, we'd go and do more on the yacht, but we never left. We had to recuperate. I saw on social media he took a girlfriend there. Y'all finished out for her or what? That's how she talks. She's really sweet. Her being, I'm killing me with the voice. Y'all, that's how her voice. Somebody said, where's the gay tea? LOL. Oh, yeah, the gay tea is, I think people think their Diddy is gay. Apologies. Because hit that subscribe, y'all. Because think about it. He only wants these girls doing it with Mandingo warriors, all body oiled down. He never wants these women to be like, for example, with another woman. It's almost like perhaps he really wants to be with that Mandingo warrior, but because of his status, can't. And therefore, he just envisions it. And also, he just sits in the corner and jacks off in a Muslim mass sometimes. So it's just really weird. It's so weird. He's still paying to use it as a defense. Oh yeah, talking about paying for her rent. You're absolutely right. Yeah, and he has a Tootsie Roll. That's probably why. I do appreciate, though, that none of his girlfriends have discussed the Tootsie Roll. They all love him. But y'all, this is a problem that I have with this specific prosecution strategy. Is I need you to see, I'm putting this bigger on the screen. It says, oh, hold on. No. It's this one. Where she says, this is critical. What had Sean said he would do with you on this yacht trip? That after a 2-day hotel night, we go and do more on the yacht, but we never left. Had to recuperate. I saw on social media he took a girlfriend there. Y'all, this is the fraud that they're claiming was as trafficking. This right here. I kid you not. I kid you not. They are claiming it was fraud when he told her they would spend more quality time together. What the hell? What? Fraud by saying more quality time? I feel like that should be every husband in America could then be indicted for sex trafficking. This is what I'm talking about when I talk about, I believe, yes, literally, this is the fraud. Hold on. This is the fraud. And I've seen some people in the comments say, well, he said he was going to do something. Listen, that's not what makes something fraud. You saying that's a promise. Like, oh, I broke my promise. It's not illegal to break promises, right? Our parents did it our whole lives. What makes something fraud is if it is considered a material, a material thing that they promise you, that but for that promise, you would not have engaged in the S Act. And here she is claiming that but for you saying, him saying, yeah, I'll take you on a yacht after, or yeah, I'll spend more quality time, she would not have done the act. I kid you not. I spent all night pulling also transcript excerpts to show you that the prosecutor said with her own mouth, yep, we're trying to show this as fraud. And so we're showing that these promises were material to her. Material being super significant. I'm going to put this up bigger. My apologies. I said, y'all, I think that's why there ain't no, I hate to say it, but there ain't no black people and there ain't no men on this prosecution team. Because I feel like a man would look at that line of reasoning and be like, yeah, get away from me with this. Get away from me with that. It's very weak. And the problem is jurors, when they go back there and they're, yes, I'm so mad. So when I said I was mad, when I was like, I'm so mad at this, I'm not mad at her. She is only a witness. I'm mad at the prosecution for thinking that this made freaking sense. An accountant has been subpoenaed. They already had an accountant testify. It was actually the CFO, and he showed a trail of a bunch of money, including money that would go from one entity into Mrs. Combs, into an entity money would flow into an entity owned by Mrs. Combs. So I think that if he's found guilty, the government absolutely is going to try the asset forfeiture, and they probably going to seize everything, including his mama's wig. The wig is gone. Said, my husband will be next Diddy, the next Diddy at this rate. He's promised me to fix up the garden. Exactly. And in exchange for that promise, you probably given him a little loving. Well, now, according to the government, that is trafficking. Y'all, I can't make this up. All right, so let's keep going with the tweets. So next she says, overruled. She says, what did you write in your notes app? I wrote, I don't want to come to New York to be treated like a hoe. Why did you write that in your notes app? I wasn't sure I was going to send it. But did you send a version of it? Yes. What did Sean say? He said, it was just podcast talk. I said, you took her to the Bahamas on a yacht, not me like you promised after the hotel night. Can you read your text? I quoted him on the podcast. You made Papa proud. I guess that's what he said on the podcast. Y'all, it's getting stupider and stupider. The prosecution is really having her lean into, you took her to the Bahamas on a yacht, not me, like you promised after the hotel night. And then she says, you made Papa proud. And you wrote, Kemi says, you wrote, I don't want to feel obligated that you'll stop paying my rent. What did you mean? The guilt trippy things he would say that I had to perform. For how long had you felt that? Since I got the home in April 2023. Okay. I know. See, I love you guys in the chat. I love you, jurors. I love you guys. And I know that you're trying to help me not go the hell off. But this is the stuff where I'm like, exactly. Here are the questions. How was she paying her rent before? Here's the timeline that matters. Hit that subscribe as you come on in. Hit that like as well. Y'all, here's the timeline that matters, honey. This woman was paying her own rent and doing freak offs for 2 years before he bought her house or rented the house. 2 years. Second of all, Diddy offered you an allowance. You could do whatever you wanted with that money. You didn't have to take it and put 100% into a rental property. Y'all, I pulled up that house. I synced it. I'm not going to show it on here. That house is $2 million and some change. She is renting a $2 million home and has been for over 2 years now. She was paying her rent fine before. Remember, she testified her only sources of income. Yes, this is why I'm angry. Thank you for understanding me. My delivery is better. It's calmer today. But Ali, this is why I'm like, oh my God. I did call her a doofus. I said she was a doofus. Because I said, I bet she never put anything aside for her child. I bet not either. So her only sources of income were child support and this allowance. And she chooses to take 100% of the allowance and put it towards rent. She couldn't even furnish the whole thing. He had only given her $15,000 to furnish it. It wasn't enough. She said she had to get 3 credit cards, take out credit cards to finance it. She still gets child support, but now this is what the defense is going to come out and say. I want to know in the chat, what are some things you think on cross the defense is going to bring up about this? Because here's one of the things. I don't like punishing people for being kind or generous. And I feel like if you call this trafficking because she chose to allocate 100% of her allowance to the place over her head, you're literally punishing someone, criminalizing someone for being a rich boyfriend. So the prosecutor is doing the defense's job for them. I want to speak to that. How did they think she was a good witness? She sounds like a nag. Yes. Yes, I still believe RICO is proven. I just don't think that this count was helpful. It's going to make it harder. And if neither of the trafficking charges he's found guilty of, I'm blaming this testimony. I'm blaming this theory, not her testimony, because she's there telling the truth. But I'm blaming this theory on why. It says she was getting more child support. Oh, baby. Marie Charlotte, my vision's bad. See, y'all, this is what I think the defense is going to say on cross, and tear that butt up and tear it up. All right. I pulled and was looking at some of her child support records. I'm not going to tell you who she is or any of that. But what I think the defense is like, if I don't have any proof of this, but if the defense is able to show that she at one point was getting substantial child support while dating Diddy as well, right? Getting substantial child support, but that it was cut back for whatever reason, that the court reduced it. And if that timeline is anywhere near, I'm talking 6 months, a year from when Diddy gave her that allowance, she's toast, baby. She's toast. And it's not that she's toast, the prosecution is toast, because she didn't make up this dumb theory. They did. Yeah. Somebody said she was selling cookies to pay rent. And it's non-taxable. She should be paying her taxes. Look, the IRS going to come after that girl if she's not careful. But it's not too late. She can actually pay back taxes on it. I feel like the cross is going to be a bloodbath for her. Absolutely. It's like the prosecution is sending her there to be slaughtered. To be slaughtered. It says the defense doesn't even have to do cross. The prosecution is making themselves look ridiculous. Okay. Jess Diva says she's a great witness. For what, honey? She is not bright. This case is saying men stop being providers. Yeah, that's what I don't like about it. So someone earlier in the chat was like, hey, Symone, they're thinking that you're on that red pill side. I'm not on that red pill side. I am on the side of justice. And I would love to see this man get locked up for something. But this argument is something that could make him walk, because it could turn the jury off so much. The jury is getting jury fatigue. And it's my understanding that she actually might be either the final or like the second to last witness for the prosecution. Baby, if that's the case, Houston, we got a problem. It says, I see what the prosecutors are getting at. This is about to get really dark for Jane. It is. And here's the thing. Y'all come to me for the law. And the truth is, financial coercion absolutely can be part of the law. I mean, it can be grounds for trafficking. It just doesn't usually I've pulled cases. It's never looked like $10,000 a month allowance. What it does look like is immigrant workers come over, they take their passport, or immigrant workers come over and their employer claims that they owe fines, or that they owe, you owe me this for housing you. You owe me this for food. So that is the financial coercion. They're basically taking their money and preventing them from leaving or doing anything else. That can happen. This is absolutely ridiculous right now. Oh, don't forget, don't forget that also he's continuing to pay her rent. For the first 2 years of their relationship, she was doing the freak offs, and he wasn't paying her rent. So the question becomes, why is it all of a sudden coercive now when it wasn't for the prior 2 years? Literally. So he started paying that rent in, April of 23 or March of 23. And Diddy goes to prison in September of 24. So basically for like a year and some change, right? That's less time than they were totally in the relationship. They were in the relationship for 3 years. So how is that coercive when the majority of the relationship, you were doing it without getting your rent paid, guys? That's where I'm struggling. Okay. Jerry says she sees where they're getting at, and it's going to get real dark for her. 10,000 seems cheap from Diddy. Oh, it sure does. It surely does. And here's the thing. what Diddy was doing, and this was a huge savings for Diddy. Once he bought her that house, instead of paying for hotel rooms in LA when he wanted a freak off, he would make her do it at her house, the same house where she was raising her child. So you better believe she is going to be fighting for her life to maintain custody of her child. Oh, in addition, thank you so much for the super chat. Hold on. Oh, thank you so much. It says, this is classic Combs. He made her a bottom B. Think the black Goldie. This is how hoes and pimps were convicted back in the 70s. It's still a valid charge. Okay. I'm with you. I'm hearing you. I just think that it would be more. Here's the other fact I want you guys to think about and tell me if this makes any difference to you. When she would complain about the freak offs, he would say, so I guess you want to break up then. All right. Well, I'm going to pay your rent for like, what you need, like 90 more days. I'll pay your rent for like 90 more days because I don't want to pay no bills of nobody that I'm not with. That was clever. I'm sure he had no idea that in any way that could be considered or linked to trafficking. But it's a legitimate concern and issue that why, if he wants to break up with her, why should he have to keep paying her rent? And if he wants to break up with her because he's not liking the sex, is that a crime? No. All right, let me switch out the facts, y'all. What if instead of it was freak offs, what if it was a guy who was saying, listen, I really, really want a threesome. I really want a 3-1. Y'all know what I'm talking about, a 3-1. And, that girl, they've been living together. He's been paying her rent. And he says, if you're not going to give me one, then we just need to break up and you need to move out. I feel like she signed up to be the freaky girl. Look, everybody got a test. I have a home girl. I use her when I want to go to the nightclub, when I want to get free drinks. I don't bring her to church with me. No way, Jose. She wouldn't even know how to act. She wouldn't know how to dress. I'm Catholic. We stand, we kneel, we all, she wouldn't have a clue. Just like there are friends for different types of occasions, I'm sure multimillionaire billionaires have women for different types of occasions. And the challenge was she wanted to be the girlfriend, but didn't bring girlfriend skills. Here's the thing. He also, she gave a text message where she said he kept throwing up Carisha into her face by talking about how she was his business partner and about how she would buy him these lavish, expensive gifts. And so Jane was jealous that she couldn't afford to buy him lavish, expensive gifts like Young Miami and how much he loved that. Well, maybe that's why Young Miami was getting the trips to Turks and that forward-facing stuff, because he felt she provided more value than just what she could do on her back. They're going to talk about child support before and after. I also know there was abuse of her. Okay, I'm not sure about that. But they're definitely going to talk about the child support before and after. Also, when she gets on that cross-examination stand, y'all, this is a very interesting fact. I want to hear your thoughts on this. When she gets on that cross, they're going to ask her, why are you testifying today? And she's going to say something like justice. They're going to say, isn't it true that you're really just testifying because it's your only shot at preserving custody of your child? Isn't that true? Because you've been, it's been stated that you've been running around doing drugs, all these allegations in here, you've been doing drugs, you've been doing all these things. Isn't it true that you are just pretending to be a victim so that in family court, the court will look at you as like a victim and not a druggy girl who's a loose woman who wasn't making good choices for your child? Isn't that true? Because it's going to come out that she is in the midst of a custody dispute, because everybody was asking, why would she take the stand? Why did she do it? I believe, it is my personal opinion, she's on that stand to preserve any smidgen of custody. Because remember, what did she say was her sole source of income? It is exclusively child support and Diddy. So if she loses that kid, we already know who knows what's going to happen with Diddy. If she loses that kid, she going to have to go to TGI Fridays, baby. She going to have to go to TGI Fridays. And she could have also done it to save her own butt. That's true. Potentially, there could be a risk of being tried for certain offenses. It said, so she sold her soul for $10K monthly rent payments. Yes, it said, my ex-wife cheated on me with 3 murderers in California, and she has the kids. Oh, my word. I'm so sorry to hear that. Let's see what we can do to get them kids back. Ooh, we don't need that. Here, all right, let's go back to the text. All right. Manipulation is awful. And when we get the next sidebar or break, okay, it says, so they just asked her, Comey had written, I don't want to feel, or Jane had wrote, I don't want to feel obligated that you'll stop paying my rent because of the guilt. It says, what did you mean? The guilt trippy things that he would say that I had to perform. For how long had you felt like that? Since I got my home in April 2023. Again, for 2 years, you've been doing these freak offs you didn't want to do. So maybe you shouldn't have spent all your money on a house. Or maybe you should have asked for that money to be like a down payment on a house you could afford. Oh, I don't know. Going back to this. Play this exhibit. Ooh, it's Combs' voice. Ooh. Yeah, he'd be so sick of her. Because she's really like, she pretends like he told her from the beginning that it would not be a monogamous relationship. And she pretends like she's okay with it. And then she keeps getting mad and jealous. So this is his voice. He says, this is a true open relationship. Why do you have to make it a problem? Now I'm sick. How did you reply to this voice message? Call me back. Then we had a FaceTime. He said all the things to calm me down. Y'all. He said all the things to calm me down. Now, mind you, this was, okay, around April. It says, and then what did you send Sean from the plane to New York? A photo of my outfit. Where were you planning to wear it? To dinner. What did Sean send you? He said, we're going to dinner. Did you? A late night lounge thing. I'll read this for you. You wrote, I missed that hard D. Oh, sorry. I think she means he wrote. No. It does mean it. She said, so Comey's reading a part of the text so that she don't have to feel so bad, I guess. She says, I missed that hard D. And I wrote, yes, I have my passport with me, in case he wants to take her somewhere. Then what did you write? I wrote, you turned me on so crazy. Can't wait. After the flight took off, I got a message from Sean. What did Sean ask you? Where was Sly? Then he asked, entertainment or movie night? Let me know. I'll get a hotel. How did you react? I felt upset and a little defeated. What did you send next? He said, baby, I just got Wi-Fi. So Sly is one of the S workers, okay? Sly's one of the hookers. And apparently Diddy really likes Sly. Sly was a big Mandingo warrior. He's quite the warrior. And so she's disappointed because she's thinking he's flying her into town so that they can spend quality time, only to find out he wants her to do another freak off night. When he says entertainment or movie night, y'all, movie nights are where they rewatch movies recorded on his phone of them doing it to each other. And they screen record it onto whatever TV is in the hotel room. Then what did you write to Sean? He said, check the red phone. The other message he sent me, he said, I have a surprise for you. Just one. What did you take that to mean? That there'd be somebody new? So she sobs. More dick. more oil. Who? The prosecutor asked. An entertainer. I hated it. Y'all, I think this is her birthday, too. I think this is her birthday. Then it says, entertainer, I hated it. What did Sean send you? A picture of the man. I rolled my eyes. Like Diddy can see you rolling your eyes through your phone, girl. Through your phone. A picture of the man. I roll my eyes. I wrote back, it's not loading. We're landing now. What did you send Sean? I suggested that we go to Casa Cipriani's, but I was driven to the Trump Hotel and I put on my outfit. Oh, shoot, girl. It's time to get the stroll. He's putting you back on that whole stroll, baby girl. I'm so sorry. It says, what happened that night? He was late. We went to that lounge. We bickered a bit. He was defensive. But we went to the room and Sly came. What did you text to Sly? I asked if he could come to New York. I felt I needed to make it up to Sean. This is the stuff. This is the stuff that's pissing me off, y'all. Y'all, I'm so mad. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Somebody says she's all beauty and no brains. I thought she had an apartment before the house. She did have an apartment before the house. That's why the house, I don't see why the house is financial coercion. This lady is doing all this huffing and puffing, rolling her eyes at Diddy because he's indicating that he wants to entertain her that night. And then you coordinate the entertainment. You call him up. You know what her excuse was in testimony on Friday? She said, well, she felt like if she had to do it, that at least if she could pick somebody she liked, that she was comfortable with. Now, okay, I understand that because there was that sweaty, stanky man that was like sweating all over her, all on her and everything. However, somebody said no victim, willing adult. Neither does anyone else. Yes, nobody like, come on in, Purple Passion. Sounds like, what does it say? It said, y'all got somebody. Neither does anyone. Sounds like they dropped the ball on this. I agree. They dropped the ball, stomped on it. But y'all, this is what happens when there's no D, E, and I. This is what happens when there is not nary D, E, or I. If you had a brown girl, came from a middle-class family like myself and many of you in the chat, we would have said, girl, don't do this. They just added this count. They just added this in April. This was not necessary. This was not, okay. YT Mero is saying she is in fact a victim. Is she doing it for the drugs and rent and doesn't want to admit it? Because So yeah, so she's admitting she called and coordinated and picked the hooker, Sly, the big Mandingo warrior. What happened that night? He was late. We went to the lounge. It says, but we went to the room and Sly came. What did you text to Sly? I asked if he could come to New York. I felt I needed to make it up to Sean. What is it that you needed to make it up to Sean for? According to you, he's trafficking you, baby. What are you making up to him? I'm perplexed. I'm confused. I'm discombobulated. What is this? Y'all, this is some rich Caucasian lady stuff. If I got any Caucasian girlies in the chat, welcome. It is all love. But I'm trying to tell you, this is a stretch, number one. But I think that so frustrated. The level of a stretch it is, you're going to need people on the jury that want to convict him. So not any of the neutral people that you guys tried to find during jury selection. You need to get someone who really wants to convict him. And it's going to need to be a very high level thinker. Somebody said the men on the jury are not going to find him guilty. I don't think they'll find him guilty of this. Oh yeah, she wanted to make up. That is true. She wanted to make. Thank you for reminding me. She wanted to make it up to him because she ignored his messages for 13 days when she was hurt about the Young Miami Turks and Caicos trip. So she was making it up to him with her vagina, which is totally fine. That's your man, girl. Your man, your man, your man. Hit that subscribe when y'all come in. Hit that subscribe and hit that like. There's nothing wrong with rewarding your man with your vagina. The only problem is that now that you're about to be in the custody battle for your life, or whatever the reason it might be, now you're like, oh, I'm a witness. I was trafficked. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shauna, for the super chat. Somebody said she's worse than Mia, dude. Y'all, it's so stupid. It's just really, really stupid. There we go. It's just getting stupider and stupider. I don't understand. But okay, but I did read the opening. I'm going to wait for like a little break, a sidebar or something. Let me see where they're at. I reread the entire opening. And when we have a break, when we have an opportunity, I'm going to read some excerpts from it, specifically pertaining to Jane. All right, we got another update 13 seconds ago. It said, this is regarding Sly. She said she called Sly to New York because she wanted to make it up to Sean for ignoring him for 13 days. But she ignored him for 13 days, allegedly as a result of the fraud of the material promise that he made, that he would take her on a trip, that he would spend quality time with her. And he lied. He lied about it. All right. Comey. Did he come to the Trump Hotel? And did you and he have sex in front of Sean? Yes. After that New York trip, where did you next see Sean? In Miami at a hotel. Did you two take these pictures? Not shown. Yes. Y'all, what makes this any different than like a mistress? You know how people have mistresses, guys will have a mistress, and they only take them to a hotel and they don't do no quality time, but they continue to lie and be like, yeah, I'll take you on a trip. I'll do this. I'll do that. But really they're like, you ain't my man, girl. I'm not taking you nowhere. My wife would kill me. Y'all, how is this any different? I need help. Help me. Help me. I'm perplexed. I feel bamboozled. There we go. There we go. Make it a little bigger. He definitely seems to like, oh, that woman just lost all the babies and grandbabies. Men need to stop covering for each other. Abusers are not your bros. How is the fact that Diddy is still paying her rent not a conflict of interest? I'm actually over all the sex BS. Sounds like a reality show that gets clicks. We get it. Move on before people tap out. Hello, HR. I'm there too. I'm like, why don't we try proving up some of the other stuff? So y'all, let me shake my Astroglide. Hold on. Gotta get the Astroglide. I have a breaking news update for you guys. I have a breaking news legal update. Where is the Astroglide? Where did my Astroglide go? I think my friends stole my Astroglide. They didn't really like it. They thought it was unsanitary. But you don't have a right to take nobody's Astroglide. That's just rude. Leave well enough alone. Oh my gosh, y'all. Oh, I got it. Here it is. Yeah, found it. All right. Shake that Astroglide. We got an update. We've got an update. Said she probably thought she was better than Young Miami, and is like, yep, she thought she was better than all of them. Diddy used to have one up on, I thought it couldn't get worse than Mia. Yep, no, we're here and it's worse. We're here and it's worse. So hold on, let me see if there's another text. And then if not, I'm going to give you this update because, okay, there are. Oh, Jesus. So there's a picture that they just showed on the screen. Jane, Jane says, we had Sly in Miami as well. Oh, no. It says, after the New York trip, where did you see Sean next? In Miami at a hotel. Did you two take these pictures? Yes. We had Sly in Miami as well. Then I went back to LA. We had an argument there. Tell us why. He wanted to set up a party. He wanted me to reach out to entertainers. But I noticed something online, that he was with an ex-girlfriend of his, and I was furious. Did you ever speak with any of these other women? No, but I found out on Instagram. These text messages are from October 15th of 23. Please read what you wrote, Jane. I texted, you got that girl next to you. Her bullish isn't already starting. Meaning drama. Drama. Somebody wrote, what a effing freak. He was literally just using her for hotel nights. Meanwhile, she was waiting around for him to just love her. Here's the thing, though. I hear that. How is that any different than when a man has a mistress and keeps telling him, I'm going to leave my wife. I'm going to leave my wife. Come do this freaky stuff my wife won't do because we probably only have sex, once every quarter, once every pay period, once every Lunar New Year, once every leap year. How is it different, guys? It says, Symone, these are talented, accomplished lawyers on the prosecution. They are. Why are they making such a weak case? So I think what they're doing here, guys. Wait, somebody says, exactly, Symone. Yeah. How are you trafficked, but you're jealous of the girlfriend? Oh, you know what, Paul? That's a really good point. So you're either a victim or not. However, I guess, but some of us, like, I have an uncle who used to be a pimp, and his girls were all jealous of one another. That was actually a tactic that he would employ to keep them loyal and keep them working and keeping them hoes on the stroll. But yes, okay, as far as the prosecution, and you're asking, why are they making such weak arguments? So what I think it is, see, majority of what I'm hearing from her is redundant. For example, she's confirming the prostitute. She's confirming substance distribution. And the only additional thing is she's an additional count of trafficking. I feel like all of that, we had other and better people who could have got that information in. So what I'm thinking is what the what the prosecution is trying to do is just stack facts on top of each other. And so that there are three alternative theories to get to trafficking for each of the alleged victims: fraud, force, or coercion. The problem is for Jane. Okay, so let's start with Cassie. For Cassie, the force was the physical stuff. The fraud was supposed to be him saying, like, he's going to put her album out. He was going to, he gave her a 10 album deal, but never went through with that. And he would tell her, you're never going to work again in this town. That was fraud, but it was also coercion. Because as well as she had the strongest coercion, she had blackmail threats that she was dealing with. Remember when he was going to send her tapes to the media, her parents, and all of that. Now, I think they're going to get to that with Jane too, but they need to hurry it up. So for Jane, there's supposed to be blackmail threats as well. Because I said from the beginning, I was like, the way Diddy likes to tape things, and the fact that she already testified that she is dating, or that her child's father is an enemy of Diddy, I was like, oh, Diddy probably is threatening to release the S tapes to her baby daddy. So I think what they're trying to do is stack it, but it ain't given what they think it's going to give. I think it could be considered coercion if he threatened to take away her house and stop paying her bills, thus threaten her livelihood if she did not do these parties. But how is that any different than a guy who has a mistress and he pays her bills, he does all of that, and he tells her, I'm only going to pay your bills if you give me threesomes. I'm only going to pay your bills if you give me threesomes. Here's the thing. She knew that's what he wanted before she got the house. So that's why I'm having difficulty with that logic as applied to here. Because I do follow you. But she took the house knowing that it was a requirement to be that type of freak-a-leak. Okay? That was the freak-a-leak that he wanted. So, I mean, it's like hating dogs, but becoming a veterinarian. You don't even need to make that commitment. You know, don't go to veterinary school if you hate dogs. That's a commitment. You're going to be stuck with it for a while. Similarly here, you already knew you didn't like the way he went. It honestly sounds like she wants more power in the relationship in the same way that she's like upset with him for doing things with other girlfriends, doing it publicly. She was quite private. Yeah, so I think it could be coercion if he threatened to take away her house and stop paying her bills. So the reason why I don't think that would be coercion is because she's not entitled to a $10,000 a month house, and she has other employment options. Oh, and this whole narrative that he prevented her from working, no, he wanted her to be available. That's 100% true. And he didn't like the concept of OnlyFans, but she never proposed modeling. She never offered to go work at a post office or an Amazon warehouse or even one of those work from home. You know, you could be a little American Airlines rep from home. You get great flight benefits. He could take that as a discount. She didn't offer to do any of that. So I guess my point is, for financial coercion, I think a better example in this case would be the threats to Capricorn Clark, where it was, you'll never work again if you don't drop this lawsuit against me. I'm going to make you broke. I'm going to bankrupt you. And he did. But here, this woman was paying her own rent for 2 years and screwing for 2 years prior to Diddy offering the house. So it almost seems like they were punishing a good deed. Why didn't she ask Diddy to give her a real job? Hello. That he could have tax deducted. Hello. Somebody said, I'm sure her friend confided in her about him before she decided to be with him. Ooh, that's probably true. Jane Doe wasn't going to. Here's the thing. And this woman has been consistently, I'm not giving her information, she's exclusively dated millionaires for the last decade. I've tracked it for over a decade. Yes, they are. I'm not talking about the prostitution. I am talking about the fact that I feel this is weak, that the financial, I'm not going to pay your rent is weak argument for trafficking. Because what's going to happen in that jury room? Those are working class, hardworking, everyday folks. And they are going to see themselves, their son, their husband, their whoever they love in the facts. And they're going to be like, well, shoot, if you could be considered a trafficker for not wanting to keep paying the rent of somebody who's not sexually pleasing you, then we all could. Because that's what it boils down to it. Because it's not like she would have been a pauper. It's not like he was going to blackball her. Now, if he was going to do that, if he was going to prevent her from working for other people, I would be with you. Absolutely. But this, I think is weak. All right, here we go. Now she says, so this is, remember, when she gets mad at him because she saw on Instagram that he was with another woman. And she sent him a bunch of messages. She texted him and she said, you got that girl next to you. Her bullish is already starting, meaning drama. I told Sean, introduce her to P. Who? Paul, one of the entertainers. Then I wrote, I'm not a porn star. These experiences are desensitizing sex for me. Okay. Now I got it. Like that one. Shake the Astroglide. All right, I got to shake the Astroglide on this one. Y'all, she says here, this is going to be a problem for the prosecution. She said, I told Sean, introduce her to Paul, one of the entertainers. I'm not a porn star. These experiences are desensitizing me. Effectively, what she's mad about is that she's realizing she's the only one that has to do these freak offs. Well, maybe you just have a special skill set, honey. Now, I believe that Young Miami was doing them too. Hers might include women or midgets, or I don't know. Not midgets. I don't think she do little people. But Young Miami was doing her own version of things. Young Miami told people she likes a golden shower. But it says to me that what she's truly upset about is she's realizing the other girlfriends don't have to do hotel nights, and she does, and she's doing the hard work, and they are getting the rewards of her vagina, of her loins. I said, she's mad. Yeah, she's mad. So, wait, somebody add, even a husband can leave his wife and take his money. Right. Even a husband can leave his wife and take his money. No way. Yeah, no way Young Miami wasn't doing FOs. She thinks she's the only one. So she knows she's not the only one, but her issue, she always said she was okay with him having other girlfriends. Because remember, when she met him, he was dating her homegirl. And the whole reason she was even in Miami is he flew out her homegirl, her, and all of them for her homegirl's birthday trips. So she's always known that Diddy has multiple women. I think her issue is that everyone doesn't have to freak off. And that's not S trafficking. I don't think. Now, I can't put that in. It says, girl, not, what is it? Not her loins. Yeah, the fruit of her loins. I'm very dramatic. Diddy's attorney is probably going to say, yeah. Now, I do think he was probably blackmailing her, and we're supposed to get to that. All right, let's update the tweets. All right, Jane wrote, I don't want to be effed in these rooms. I felt there was more pressure on me than the others. See, what did I tell you? What did I just tell you? This is not going to be good for the prosecution. She says, I feel there's more pressure on me than the others. There was an imbalance. I had to earn basic things for my romance. Love and romance, he was just giving to others. He was clearly capable of it. I know her baby daddy is so mad. What? I know her baby daddy is so darn mad. Hold on. Oh, I just got an update. I got an update on KK and D-Rock. Oh. All right. Again, KK and D-Rock, real quick, before I get back to the text, shake your Astro Glide. Here's the update. For those of you joining, we are breaking down and analyzing Jane Doe's testimony today. It is testimony of S trafficking by fraud, force, or coercion. The fraud is he told her he was going to spend quality time with her, and he hasn't. And the coercion is threatening to break up with her and terminate her $10,000 a month allowance, and only paying for 3 more months after they are to break up. Now, the update is that KK, Christina Karam, the chief of staff, will not be testifying. She ain't coming. She's not coming. You hear that real quick? I want to make sure you hear that. What the hell is going on here? KK, we're going to go back to the text. Oh, you said you're waiting to hear how that was bad for the feds, proving their case. The reason that her last statement, I'll go back to that. The reason that the last tweet was bad for the feds is because when she says, I felt there was more pressure on me than others, there was an imbalance. I had to earn basic things for my romance. Love and romance, he was giving it to others. He was clearly capable of it. that says what she's upset about is that they don't have to do these freak offs too, and that she's envious of the other girls. It's not that she feels so coerced and so trafficked she can't leave the situation. In fact, her issue is she wants them to have to do some too, or she wants more quality time. Your desire for quality time is not sex trafficking, trafficking. It's just not. Okay. So going back to KK. KK apparently lawyered up. She won't be testifying. I heard this morning that KK is not coming. I said that. Yeah, KK is not coming and D-Rock is not coming. The way that I put that together actually was last week, kind of towards the end of the week, there was testimony in court that the prosecution was trying to get into evidence, this text message thread that had Diddy, KK, and D-Rock. And if you're calling any of those people to the stand, it's no problem getting in those text messages. You guys have seen Jane here is reading her text messages all day. Cassie read her messages. So when that happened, my ears perked up. I was like, oh my God, I guess it looks like they're not coming, because that would be them not coming is the only reason the prosecution would need to file the motion that they filed to try and get in that evidence. And I have this real quick. We'll get back to the tweets. I'm going to show you this real quick. And with that, 19, it has been confirmed that KK is a co-conspirator. Some people were like, oh, it's a one-man Rico. No, it's not. I mentioned to you guys before that it wasn't here. I'm going to go to I highlighted it for you guys. I'm going to go. This is a transcript. But when the prosecution was trying to get in this document and evidence, the prosecution literally says, regarding the document, it says, Miss Ventura is expressing her fear of Mr. Combs to Miss Karam, who is an agent and a co-conspirator. Who is an agent and a co-conspirator? Why is it relevant? It's relevant, it said, because she's aware of the violence and because of her awareness that contributes to the coercive atmosphere. But yes, that was the prosecution, the government, acknowledging KK is in fact, and we got another one. We got another site to it. KK is in fact a co-conspirator. And then there was another one here too. It says on this page, I should use a watermark. Here it is. I think it solves the hearsay, but the effect. Let me just point out the metadata. Yeah. Oh, I can't do Control F on this one. Yep. But here we are. And then it says. Here it says like the testimony. Oh yeah. Here they went further on and says, that quote, the foundation has been laid in the testimony thus far, establishing that Miss Karam is a co-conspirator in the RICO count. So there is a co-conspirator. It is, at least one of them is Miss KK. And remember, I had also pulled this up. Remember, I had also shown you guys on this document here as well. This is the docket. This is the docket for the entire case. And what does it say? Who does it call Diddy? Sean Combs, AKA sealed defendant 1. Generally, that means there are more than one other defendants. Otherwise, they would just call it defendant. They wouldn't need to call him sealed defendant. They would just call it defendant. So that is just to confirm to those people who are saying, oh, how's this a one-man RICO? So the question is, what happens now to KK? So it depends. It depends on whether KK has failed to respond to a subpoena or whether she wasn't subpoenaed. I believe she probably was not asked to come, or they may have subpoenaed her and then change their mind. That would happen. And I double checked with my sources, federal U.S. attorneys, and they said that would happen if they believe she's going to get on that stand and change up or not provide helpful testimony. If that's the case, even with immunity, she could do more harm than good. So you're only going to give someone immunity if you believe they're going to get on that stand, they're going to tell the truth, and it's going to be helpful. But if you feel like they're going to get up there and pull a Kelsey, I don't remember, I don't recall, or even just flat out lie, then you don't even call them up. So she has not, at this point, it's not that she's avoiding a subpoena. It's that the prosecution, for some reason, does not want to call her. Same thing with D-Rock. Now, the defense could still choose to call her. The problem is they would then open her up to cross-examination. That's it. KK is like to prove she's not going to help them. Okay. So what happens for him? I do feel, y'all tell me in the chat, do you think that at this point in the testimony, the prosecution should call some other high up or some other employee staff member of the enterprise who's not suing Diddy, who's never sued Diddy, none of that going on, so that we have someone else who can just bring it all together? I think it's time that they do that. So I think, hell, get Roger Bonds or somebody. I don't know. But I think that at this point, after this Jane Doe testimony, and it's going to get deeper, and I'm putting it back up there now. After this Jane Doe testimony, I feel like they need to call somebody who is some sort of chief executive of the organization to really bring it together. I do think that there has been strong RICO proof, but part of the challenge is the witnesses that have been called so far are, for the most part, are suing him, have sued him, are accusing him of assault, things like that, so that in the event that the jurors don't find them credible on the assault or whatever, they may not find them credible with regards to the RICO proof. It says Roger Bond said that he's testify if asked. So that's what I'm trying to find out. Has he been asked? So I confirm no KK. I confirm no D-Rock, but they are going to have to get some security guard up there. Some Christina Karam. They're going to have to have something up there. I think to just tie it all in a knot. If they had her, it would be great. Security knew everything. Exactly. Somebody said, call his mama. Yeah, his mom is definitely not going to be called. Carisha can definitely testify for Diddy, and I would not be surprised if she doesn't, because she might get up there and say, I did freak offs for him too. I wasn't coerced. I wasn't trafficked. I was his girlfriend, and I enjoyed it. And, y'all, look at my big face. Hold on, I'm going to put my big face up here. And Carisha could get up there and say, I think, she can't say I think, because that would be speculation, but she could basically imply that the real reason Jane was doing all those freak offs because Jane was competing with me. Jane knew I was number one, so she knew that, and if she wanted to compete with me and what me and Diddy got going on to be real competition, you better bust it wide open and tell them, bring him back, bust it wide open, and you tell, you see. Yes, somebody said yes. Watch all of it. Love it even more since they were dragging Symone for the last 2 days. Thank you. If I'm on the jury, I could not convict him. The witnesses are too skeptical for me. Someone says can't. Master manipulator. He's a master manipulator that emotionally abused her. Every woman has probably been through some type of emotional manipulation. Yes, I think there's a legal something. No, Jonathan Odie. No, he's not going to testify. No. What would you need him for? Let's think about it at this point. There's nothing. Somebody asked if, why is this not showing? Somebody asked if Jonathan Odie's going to testify. I'm going to say a big old hell no. That man is off his rocker. He is not well. He is unmedicated, but needs to get medicated. Last week, I had seen the poor guy. And I don't think there's anything that he would testify to that the other hookers have not already established. They've already found the best hookers available to testify. So they need to just stop right there. All right. So we've got. All right. Jane then wrote, it's been 3 years Oh, wait. I want to make sure this is a note, a text versus a love note. Okay, it's a text. All right, so going back to it, this is Jane is mad that he is out on a vacation with one of his other girlfriends. And so she texts him, I'm not a porn star. These experiences are desensitizing sex for me. I don't want to be effed in these rooms. I don't want to be effed in these rooms. I felt there was more pressure on me than the others. There was an imbalance. I had to earn basic things for romance. Love and romance, he was just given to others. He was clearly capable of it. Jane then wrote, it's been 3 years of me having to F strangers. He wrote, so we're breaking up? Y'all, this is the S trafficking. Here it is. This is not a good thing, but I'm shaking the astroglide. This is it. This is a prosecution's S trafficking coercion proof. This is it. It's been 3 years of me having to F strangers. He said, so we're breaking up? Is that what you were proposing? No. I wrote, I need a break spiritually. What did you write next? I wrote, sex is sacred to me. I wrote, you always push me to do more and more. I said, I need time to myself. I said, may we have a sidebar? Combs's lawyer, judge, you may. Sidebar. Okay, nothing's happening in sidebar. Ooh, this sidebar's been going on for a little hot minute, honey. Somebody is saying the defense is losing this. How to defend this effing creepy mafia boss. Ooh. Somebody else said uneducated. That's why she's doing it. I don't care what they're saying. I'm about to read your comments. So, what did you write? S is sacred to me. So, literally, guys, it's the so we're breaking up when she says directly in response to the I don't want to F strangers. This is a prime example of her. Wouldn't Odie confirm giving Cassie drugs? Child, he sure could, but everybody else has confirmed that too, honey. I don't think we don't need him for that. You always want to present your best evidence, not just repetitive evidence, especially because this jury is getting bored. I said, Diddy got himself a huge bargain in Jane Doe. Well, he really did. Because think about it. He gets her the $10,000 a month house. Now he doesn't have to pay for hotel nights. And there's no way he's paying less than $1,000 per night, because y'all saw all that baby oil that he had staining up the walls, the sheets, the curtains. There was baby oil stains everywhere. So he actually got a huge discount by giving her that rent. And he did pay for it through one of his Combs enterprises. This is a prime example of her being with Diddy based on potential. Oh, yeah, guys. We've hit that subscribe, guys. Hit that subscribe. Yeah, we got to quit dating men for potential. There's no such thing, especially not at no 50 years old, okay? This is who they are. Stop trying to change this man. Stop it. It says that's not S trafficking. He didn't threaten her. He literally said, so you want to break up. This is why this is aggravating to me. Because at the end of the day, this is not the same as Cassie, and this could impact. It could create jury fatigue, as in the jurors are sick of this foolishness. Hit the subscribe button, y'all. Hit the subscribe. And more than that, he's telling her, do you want to break up? At this point, honestly, and remember, I've been listening to this since Thursday afternoon. It honestly sounds like he is sick of her and she's getting on his nerves and he wants her to dump him. Y'all ever had a boyfriend who did that? He didn't want to be the bad guy, so he doesn't dump you. So he tries to act so much of a fool. Girl. I mean, no, you're a guy. Mukhtar Ali. So you want to break up. What's the legal problem? The prosecution wants us to believe that the problem with saying, so you want to break up, is that because it's directly related to her saying she no longer wants to F strangers. But how is this any different than someone who doesn't want to do threesomes and their boyfriend's like, so you want to break up? Because I got to have a girl to just be butt wild with me. Lubing it up, honey. Lubing it up. How is that any different? Somebody said takes the cake. She knows with that question that he didn't care. She stayed. If she, yes, that's important. She knows with that question that he don't care if she stays or if she leaves. That's why she's mad now. And she doesn't want to leave. She doesn't want to leave. Because here's the thing. She would have to walk away. And of course, she'd have to walk away from that allowance. Now, the prosecution is saying that's why it's financial coercion, because he knows that she and her child are dependent upon that rent. But I think at least one of those jurors, one of the 12, is going to say, well, girl, why did you get such an expensive place? If you would have gotten a place that you could have paid for with your child support, then Diddy's allowance money would have just been extra money that you could actually save, put away. Yes, most people would have. And he's still paying the rent. But who cares who was harmed? Apparently she was, because her vagina was sore and she was sick of it. It says, Freakoff's in the middle of Coral 9. I don't know what Coral 9. Oh, thank you so much for the super chat. Freakoff's in the middle of Coral 9. Oh, girl, I don't know what that is, but it sounds nasty. Someone says, I'm still not getting it. If your partner is no longer into what you want, you break up. That's what happens every day, literally. Once I had this guy who wanted to put his thumb up my butt. I said, hell no. Get away from me with that. This thing is exit only. I even stopped getting Brazilian waxes because I said, I don't want to be accused of false advertising. So, no. Any day you can say, I'm not with this weird-ish. Leave it alone. This is exit only. Don't come over here bothering my bottom. I don't do butt stuff. Get out from over here. And I said that, and he didn't bother me no more. I also dumped him. I added that. So I said, listen, that might be something you like. You go find somebody who likes butt stuff. But I already know you don't wash your hands. You don't wash your hands enough. So the last thing I'm going to let you do is put one of them in my bottom and then cuddle. No. Because what happened was, y'all, I had a really aggressive enema when I was about 4 years old. See, my dad had a fear of constipation, that we would like die of an impacted bowels or something like that as a kid. Like, he was very concerned about it. So I was like 4 years old and he felt like I wasn't being regular. I hadn't gone enough. And we were at my grandma's house. We were at my Mima's. And he determined that I really needed this enema. And I remember I was kicking and fighting. I was 4 years old. And he put me in a bathtub. He had his knee over the tub and he leaned me over and he had the little, I got one kind of like it over here. Hold on, let me show it to you. Wait a minute. Y'all forgot I got props. I've been in that courtroom all week. Y'all forgot I got props. Hold on, my daddy laid me over his knee. He got a little something like this. This is really for my new camera. I don't know why it's like that. But he did me like that. Oh, I got the tussling, baby. I got the tussling. I was like, no. My granny ran in there. She was like, what are you doing to my granddaughter? And ever since then, don't put nothing in there. Now, when I was an adult and I regrouped from the PTSD and the butt trauma, my mama had me get a colonic because I was having issues with my skin and whatever else. I think it was like drinking too much, partying with my girlfriends and stuff. And I went and I got a colonic. Now, I will give you guys one piece of advice. If you're going to get a colonic, have one of the gays do it because they're very good with doing butt stuff gentle. Oh, man, I had the best colonic man. His name was Ken. He looked just like a Barbie doll. And because I can't put stuff back there. I can make it come out, but I can't put nothing up in there. And he put that, it was like gel, like how, not lube, but it was some gel. And he put on there, and then he just showed me how to sit, and he just slid it right where it went. I said, that's why you got all them boyfriends. They're right there, sir. That right there. Because you're gentle and you're kind. Okay, let's get back. That's not what we're supposed to be talking about. I don't know. How did we get here? Sorry, guys. That was a sidebar. Okay, let me just put up the sidebar banner in case anyone's confused. I promise. It's the long day. So every now and then you're going to get a sidebar story. Let's go back to the tweets. They are in a sidebar. Let's see if they're done. Let's do a refresh here. All right. It says, during the break, Combs is standing talking with Xavier Donaldson, his lawyer. That's the handsome chocolate black guy. His head is perfectly shaped like one of those black or brown peanut M&Ms. The judge says, please be seated. Miss Comey, please bring Jane back. Jane walks back up to the table. It says Jane walks up. Past Combs' table as he passes a note to his lawyer. Oh, Alexandria Shapiro. Okay. Let me describe him. Y'all, he's scary to me. Now, but he's charming, honey. He be trying to charm you. He will be in there. He waves every time he comes back in the courtroom. He waves like Mr. America. He'll wave at you. He makes eye contact. The first time he looked at me and I was like, is he going to kill me? But I'm alive. So, I mean, he doesn't know who I am. I'm sure he doesn't know who I am. They know who Tisa is, though. They know who Tisa is. I know that. But, yeah, no, I was like, oh, he's going to kill me. Let's get this sidebar together. This poor Jane. So we've got Jane on the stand, and the gist of what we've heard so far today is Jane has submitted additional testimony where, let's see, y'all are talking about prune juice. Yeah, okay, enough. I got it. No, we're back on the testimony. No more sidebar. Jane was providing testimony about how she felt like he was only using her to F strangers. And so then his response was, so you want to break up? Do you want to break up? Specifically is what he asked. That is what the government is claiming is trafficking by coercion, because it's financial coercion, because not only is he paying her rent, but remember, he told her, if you want to break up, I'm still going to pay your rent for 3 more months. What do you need? Like 3 more months. I'm sorry, your landlord don't give you 3 more months. When you get laid off from a company, they don't give you 3 more months. If your landlord wants to put you out, he puts you out same month. So I feel like it's kind of generous. Yes. I'm not deliberately not acknowledging the situation. You have to understand, under the law, there are separate theories for each thing. There is the force, there is the fraud, and there is the coercion. And the coercion evidence and examples, I believe, is weak under these facts. Because what I'm not understanding, and D-Man, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I love having a respectful discourse. Is that y'all act like the $10K for the rent is the only money she has. She's still getting child support, and she can work. She can work. Yeah, it's 3 months severance pay. Someone said that was my question about Cece with the autistic son. Thank you for bringing that up. That's Capricorn Clark. Somebody said, who cared for him while she worked? Here's why I feel like this is a very problematic argument for the prosecution to make, is that people are going to liken the two or compare the two, and they're not comparable. They're distinctly different. See, in Capricorn Clark's case, he threatened to blackball her and allegedly did. She has never worked again in the industry. That is distinctly different from a boyfriend-girlfriend situation where this woman for over a decade has been taken care of by boyfriends. I said she was a professional baby mama. Now, to be fair, she's only got one child per her testimony, but she has had all her, and she's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with having millionaire boyfriends. The problem is when you are now saying that another human being is responsible for your financial well-being because he's your boyfriend. Girl, what? Get a husband. If you want someone to be financially responsible for you, get a husband. Yeah, all witnesses are criticized, because the thing is, if you have weak coercion evidence, you don't need to put it on. Then why don't you take whatever is the strongest and put on that evidence? They could use her to prove up substance distribution. She knows all about that. They could use her to prove up prostitution. But as trafficking by coercion, and then a jury is supposed to see this the same as Cassie, who the coercion was threatening to release the tapes, sending them to her mama, preventing her from working, those kinds of things. It's not the same. And even when Cassie tried to leave, when Cassie tried to leave, he wouldn't let her. That's who she would get another man, and he'd come trying to kill a boyfriend. So it makes it difficult for a jury, because a lot of times a jury thinks, oh, well, if the charge is S trafficking, I have to find him, the same result for both. But no, that's not it. Or if they're already struggling with Cassie, whether or not to find him guilty of Cassie's S trafficking, they're definitely going to have a challenge with hers. Okay, this is an important fact. They made a contract for her to hump other men for her income. There it is. They did. Okay, wait. I like that argument. I like where you're going, because there was the love contract. The testimony was there was a love contract. They had been broken up for a few weeks. They get back together. He said, let's do a love contract. What do you need? What do you want from me? And she's like, how much do you want? And she said 15,000. He said 10. And then she chose to take the 10 and buy the house and rent the house. But here's the thing, Amari, and tell me in the chat your thoughts, girly. Yes, they made that love air quote contract, which wasn't written. It sounds like it was just, I miss you. We're getting back together. What do you need from me? Like, I miss you. I'm a billionaire. I'm going to give you allowance. But the problem is, you stated they made a contract for her to hump other men for her income. Not true, because she was already humping these other men and had been for 2 years. So how do you explain why she had already been humping these other men for 2 years? Without getting anything. So I don't think the contract was for that. I think he had been with her. Arguably, he'd been with her for 2 years and was like, oh, because that's what she asked for. She asked for 2 years of rent because she said it equaled the amount of time that they had already spent together. So she felt like 2 years of rent was the equivalent of her 2-year investment in their relationship. And she said she felt it was balancing. It was creating more of a balance in their relationship because she felt there was an imbalance. I said that was for her to come to her senses and come back if she said leave. He knew what he was doing. Yeah, it says, Miss Bell, that was my question about CC's. Yeah. That's actually a pretty good deal. What did Chris say? Getting a husband doesn't guarantee money. No, that's true. Or fidelity. No, it doesn't. But if you want someone to be financially responsible for you, you have a better likelihood of that with a husband. Yes, she was no. She was a prostitute for him. I don't know about to anybody else. Actually, no, that's not true. I'm not giving it away, but she was in a very, she's always had multi millionaires taking care of her. And I first knew of her because she was one of many girlfriends to a major celebrity who said he didn't want his girlfriends working, and she did not. What was the point of them releasing the voicemail on Friday? The voicemail didn't seem incriminating. It seems like he didn't care if she stayed or left. I agree. What they're trying to show, though, is the prosecution felt, and we're going back to the text, the prosecution has felt, good, they're back, okay. The prosecution feels that the text shows he would get mad when she would express that she didn't want to do a freak off. And that was him going off because she doesn't want to do one. Huh. But, that sounds crazy to me, because you not wanting to do a freak off, let him get mad. And let him, I guess the question becomes, if we begin to feel that boyfriends are now financially responsible for your rent until the end, like until when? He's not your husband. So would this be forever? Like, when was he supposed to stop paying your bills is the question. Was it when you're ready to get a job? Is it the next recession? Somebody help me out here. If the coercion is financial coercion, or I said that's a spouse agreement. No, she was blindsided by love, and that's okay. That's reasonable. It's not just the money. She likes being with celebrities, probably. Yeah. All right, here we go. Update. Oh, what did Sean write to you? He wrote, I want to spend the day with you. I wrote back, you make it crystal clear exactly what you want me for. You're going to spend the day love bombing me? What did that mean? Sean is very love bombing. I believe you there, girl. Jane says, I said, I'm not just an animal people can F on. He said, you crazy. How often did he call you crazy? I said, you want to have me suck some D so you can jet off with Gina. I said, I'm drained. He said, I'll leave you alone. Oh, Lord, you want me to suck some D so you can jet off with Gina. I said, I'm drained. And he said, I'll leave you alone. And the next message, does he use your true name? Yes. And what does he say? He says, that's my house too. Oh, wait. Oh, she asked, and does he say that's my house too? He does. He wrote, I'm coming over. You got to let me in. You going to let me in or not? Is your baby there? Are you going to let me in your house? Oh, are you going to let me in our house again and again? Y'all. So Diddy says, that's my house too. He says, I'm coming over. You going to let me in or not? Is your baby there? Are you going to let me in the house? Are you going to let me in our house? You let me in our house? He said it again and again and again. Well, if he's paying for it, that's my thing. Anytime. Yes. Y'all understand, under the law, that was a gift that he can reject at any given time. You can take a gift back when it is a gift like rent. So if you tell someone, I'm going to pay your rent, it doesn't mean until you die. It usually means until our relationship concludes. Fair enough? So the question becomes, if this man isn't able, and I don't think the world of him at all. Yes. Is your baby there is wild. And this is why she might be taking the stand as she is, because here's the thing. By her taking the stand as Jane, which is what, victim 2, it allows her to now be a victim in family court. She can be seen as a victim. Clarification. So that instead of a court looking at it like, oh my gosh, this one was jet setting around the world and she was doing drugs and all of the other things that are in this court record, because her child's father literally can take the entire court record and file a motion and submit it, because all of this was testimony under oath. He can just submit it to the judge and say, Your Honor, please rule. Please rule. It was under oath and it was the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, according to her. So therefore, it doesn't make no sense. It just, is your baby there? Now, him coming over in your case there is no problem, but y'all having a freak off with your child there, that is a problem. I don't even know how old the child was at the time, but Lord have mercy. I wonder why the prosecution isn't focusing on the rugs. Jane said she traveled with them and mentioned the rug mule. They did. On Friday, she talked all about that. More specifically, on Friday, she also testified that there was an instance where KK asked her to transport substances for them. And KK said, oh, it's no big deal. I do it all the time. Ooh. So that was valuable of her testimony. That part, yeah, that part could be a huge issue. Ooh, someone else said she could get in trouble with family court for not disclosing money. You're right about that. If it is in a state which combines both incomes to determine how much support. Oh, you're absolutely right. And she said she was in LA. That is absolutely a state that does that. So yeah, her child's father could probably petition the court to also ask, petition and say he overpaid and to ask for a refund, or not a refund, but a payment for overage. It says, as a family lawyer, that is the first thing I would do. Obtain that transcript. Thank you so much, Amber Simmons. Girl. Because what is she thinking? And now all her income is gone. Oh, but by the way, I had heard she's back on OnlyFans. How do you guys think that's going to fly for the prosecution? She's on OnlyFans. Sorry, not back. Because previously, remember, some of the people who are very sensitive to her. Can't she say that? Hold on. Can't she say that the money was an investment for her business? No, she got it for rent. She's testified it was for rent. Rent, you got to pay taxes on rent. And rent literally means that's a $10,000 a month income. So potentially it probably will mean her baby dad has overpaid. That's actually quite the case. I don't know what I was talking about. Another rapper helped her with her kids. Oh gosh. All right. So let's see. Here's the update. Long break. The judge. Be seated. Comey, please bring her back. Oh, we got it. All right. We did this one. Has he used your true name? Then he says, Sean wrote to me. He says, I'm so stressed. I'm horny. SMH. What does SMH mean? Shaking my head. He said his knees weren't good. I said I was hitting up my mom. She said that she was taking bone supplements, and that was the key. And then you saw Sean? Yes. We had the sobriety party at the hotel. First, I went to a concert. I stood with his security, Jonathan. I went to the store for supplies for the hotel night. Sean was in the hotel waiting. He called me, Biatch, and said, what the F is taking so long? Okay. Now see, with him, girl, you not, bless your heart. What you're not going to do, you're not going to call me out my name and be rushing me to prostitute. Somebody said the sidebar was probably the judge asking prosecutors, what the hell? He travels good. He sure did. No sympathy there, it says. If she came with proof that the child wasn't around or doing any of the freaky nights, the kid wasn't in danger. I think what she, as far as like a custody battle, I think her bigger battle is going to be that she's been on drugs for the last 3 years. Now, of course, she's going to testify and say, well, that was only on the freak off nights. I had coverage. I had babysitters. But the benefit of being victim 2 is she is now a sex traffic victim. You see that? So therefore, there is a chance that the judge in her family law case will treat her as a victim and not someone who is voluntarily and willingly doing the things. Because I guarantee you that judge is probably not going to read any transcripts other than what she or her baby daddy submit to that judge. So that judge may only know that, like, hey, the claim is, they needed her as a witness in this huge federal case. The judge is probably not going to think that, the prosecution is making this ridiculous claim as they are. But, oh yeah, on OnlyFans, this chick on cross-examination, that's why I'm really concerned about her. So she testified that she wanted to do OnlyFans. She told Diddy about it, and he was discouraging. He never said no. She testified. He didn't say no. He was just apprehensive was the word she used. Apprehensive, and he was not with it. Okay, but she continued to do it. Hit that subscribe, y'all. Hit that subscribe. But she continued to do it. I'm sorry, but she did not do it. She also testified that she found out about it because her homegirl was doing it. They said, how much did your homegirl make? She said, $4 million a year. Fast forward, it's my understanding she's now doing OnlyFans. So, honey bunny, defense is going to have a field day with that one because, number one, she is probably earning over $20,000 a month on OnlyFans alone. Plus whatever she gets in child support, plus Diddy is still paying her rent. If that is the case, she's going to have to explain how was it that you couldn't do OnlyFans before, but you can do it now because Diddy is still paying your rent. And hell, as far as I know, she might still feel like they're together. She have her own business. She just opened her own business she just opened her own business. I'll just say it there. Well, she's making money now. No, I think that that's great. But the thing of it is she's making money. Let's say hypothetically, the prosecution determines that this girl is raking in 20 to 30K a month, right? On OnlyFans right now, today, as we speak, or in recent months, because she's probably not doing anything right now. Obviously, this is traumatic. But if they find that out and she still continues to accept the $10K a month in rent from Diddy, the question is going to be why? The coercion is now gone. The financial coercion is now gone if you are making $20K a month. Do you see that? Because the financial coercion is supposed to be the threat of removing the roof over her head. She can... it said her friend made $4K. If she can make $4,000 a year, then she better get on OnlyFans ASAP. That's what I said. At least Diddy was concerned about her kid, right? And he's trying to salvage her self-dignity. Literally, because her life is going to be really, really hard after this. My heart truly does bleed for her because I don't think we're going to get into the more coercive stuff. Like I said, I knew it's got to get better than this. Like, the government isn't totally insane. All right, so the next text, it says, now this was the sobriety party. So they were trying to not do so much drugs. So the agreement was, because remember, part of the claim is he had her drugged up. The defense is going to argue she took them voluntarily. And here's why. Jane says, we had the sobriety party at the hotel. First, I went to a concert. I stood with his security, Jonathan, and I went to the store for supplies for the hotel night. Sean was in the hotel waiting. He called me B and said, what the F is taking so long? So she's getting the freak off supplies and she's coordinating it. Okay. Jane, I got there. His assistant said, you don't deserve to be called a B. At La Hermitage, what happened? That's the hotel. I didn't want to take the substances. Who was the first entertainer? Rico, then Paul, then Anton, and then I threw up. Child, this, bless her heart, this was the triathlon. This was the triathlon the vaginal triathlon I told y'all about it. This was the triathlon when she had 3 men in one night. Oh, bless her heart. 3 in one night. When she told the story in the courtroom last week on Friday, specifically what she said is after the first one, I don't remember how the second one came in, but after the second one left, he looks at her. Diddy looks at her and goes, "Think you can handle one more?" And she goes, "I guess." That was one where I was like, girl, I guess. She said, "I guess." All right, so let's keep going. So she did Rico, then Paul, then Antoine, and then she threw up. Sean said, "Good, you threw up. Now you'll feel better." Then I had sex with Anton. So she actually threw up after guy number 2. And Diddy felt like since she got all the throw up out of her system, she should be ready to go. Gross. Whose text is this? Mine. I wrote, "Baby, I love you. Do you think you could put something in my hotel?" Did Sean respond? "No." What does that mean? "Baby, I love you. Do you think you could put something in my hotel?" I don't know if that means money or what. We'll see. Then she says, "Oh, put something in my hotel." She might have meant home. Anyway, Jane says, "I needed furniture for the house. I wrote, you weren't too busy to make sure Chelsea was ready in DC." Play the voice note. Sean Combs' voice. "I don't know where the F Chelsea is. I ain't with no itches. Leave me the F alone. I'm single." Oh, he said, "Leave me the F alone. I'm single." I don't think that's really Chelsea. I think that name is supposed to be Young Miami. Ain't no Chelsea involved in this. She's giving desperate. Someone says, "I don't feel sorry for it." Let's see. "I don't feel sorry for Jane Doe. I feel sorry for the kid and the father associated with her. The rent is going right to the owner." Well, what's weird is Diddy doesn't even own the house. At that point, it's been 2 years now. He probably should have bought it. Again, why would she do a triathlon? And she's allegedly so upset that she feels she's being used for sex. Girl, where is your brain? Y'all, do y'all see why I was so frustrated after day 1 testimony? Because I felt like, all right, we're coming on home. There's a week left. Bring it on home, prosecution. You really proved up some elements, but you just really need to, bring it on home, close it on out strong. And then they come up with this stuff. It really is feeding into the defendant's theme of this is a witch hunt. They're trying to take down a rich guy. This is the Me Too movement gone astray. Somebody said that's a lot of work on the body. She better get paid. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, absolutely. Jane said, "I needed furniture for the house. I wrote, you weren't too busy to make sure Chelsea was ready in DC." Play the voice note. I don't know where the fuck Chelsea. That is, I don't think that's Chelsea. I think that's Young Miami. I don't know where the F Young Miami is. I ain't with no B's. Leave me the F alone. I'm single. I want to know what month that was. Because they go back and forth like that. But the thing of it is you don't get to complain. Hold on. Oh, I got another theory. Wait a minute. Now hit that subscribe. I need you to hear my theory. This ain't even rocket science. Listen, what if on defense, on cross, the defense comes in and says, isn't it true? He wasn't trying to dump you because you didn't want to have free costs. He was trying to dump you because he was sick of your jealousy. He was trying to dump you because you pretended